Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Business from the Bass Boat Podcast on the Serious Angler Network, presented by Rec Lending. And today's show, guys, is a great one. I'm hoping that everyone is getting settled in after Memorial Day weekend, super important weekend, and just a lot of time on the water for folks. And we are kind of in that summer transition, getting to the point where stuff starts to get hot in a lot of parts of the country, and still some spawning activity in those northern states, of course, in addition to the stuff out west and into the northwest. So, without further ado, this one is a guest we've had on before that has some great industry insight and has been around the industry for quite some time. But today we're talking boats, and that's with none other than Mr. Chris Brown, the brand marketing manager of Skeeter. So let's bring him in. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, Adam. Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. The sun is shining. It actually finally feels like spring in Idaho. It's been cold, and now it's actually kind of the last couple of weeks has actually felt like spring, summerish-esque feeling. So probably a little different than down in Texas, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you to East Texas sometime around the middle of May because you'll think you're coming to spring, and all of a sudden, we'll tell you Texas is just preheating in May, and we've had a lot of rain and storms the past few weeks, as you probably see on the news. And so, I've not seen the sun in probably about a week. I would love to see it. I could use some drying out. Our lakes are full, which is great, but yeah, a lot of rain, and it's just going to get hotter because you'll get a little rain, it'll drop the temperature by about 10 degrees, and then if the sun comes back out, it just gets about 20 degrees hotter after that. So it's nice and humid and fun. So nowhere near what you got there in Idaho, but it's but it's good. Things are well, and kind of surprised you had me back on the show. I figured I bombed the last time, so I'd never get invited back. So I appreciate the invite. So
No doubt, man. That's great. Well, I don't know if you bombed in any way. We had some laughs, that's for sure. And man, memorable part of the last show was talking Brandon Polinick in how you turned him down. It was just
yeah,
fantastic.
I gotta stop telling that story because I'm getting more and more in trouble every time I see people that I meet. They're like, "Oh, you're the guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the guy," but we're all good now. We're square, so everything's good. So,
Things are
but
on the up and up. Well, good.
that's it.
Well, man, you are about to embark on the owners tournament. So this show will go out right the week before that is happening, and I know that's kind of a historic event for the state of Texas, being Skeeter Boats right there out of Kilgore. Man, talk a little bit about it. What's to be expected, and yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
The Skeeter Boats Owners Tournament it's the first full weekend in June every year, and it is a lot of folks use this. It almost sounds kind of cliche, but it's a family reunion of sorts for all of our Skeeter owners across the country. And we've got guys that show up with 1950s models. We've got guys that show up with 2024 models and everything in between. Families. I mean, we started getting phone calls the 1st of January going, give me dates. I got to make plans. I got to make arrangements. It's a family vacation for a lot of people and a lot of families. And it's a big family fun atmosphere. It's a 2 day big bass tournament. We give away, I think, I forget. I mean, I'm trying to remember. It changed from last year because this is our 30th annual this year. But we
Wow.
give away a bunch of money every hour. We pay, of course. We're on Lake Fork, out of Lake Fork Marina, and Ken and Dana down there do a great job for us. Got a big circus tent out there that our buddies from Bass Champs, they run the tournament for us, and we do everything else. And we'll have roughly 22 to 2,500 anglers in this deal, just
Oh
over
my
a
gosh.
thousand, 1,100 skeeters on Lake Fork at that time. And I always tell people, if you're interested in ordering a skeeter and you're curious about what color combo to choose, just come to an owner's tournament. All right, because you're going to see every color under the rainbow there, every color combination of the rainbow there, and you're going to see some really, really, really sexy Skeeters out there.
Yeah.
And you're going to see some that you're going to go, who in the factory let that one go, right? Who bought that boat, right? There's some that are little sketch, but they're there. We've got, of course, we're owned by Yamaha. We've been putting Yamahas in the back of Skeeters since the late '90s, but there
Mhm.
are some that show up from previous that may have a different color or brand motor on them.
Wow.
We actually built through our sister company G3. We actually built a Skeeter aluminum at one time back in the
Oh
early
my
'90s, I
gosh.
believe, or late '90s, early 2000s. We've got 3 or 4 of those that show up. You name it. So if you own a Skeeter, dude, pack up the family, come on down. You can have up to 3 people on a boat. Everybody fishes individually. We pay hourly big bass. Pay 10 places for hourly big bass. And of course, we pay as on Fourth being a slot lake,
Yep.
anything from 16 to 24 inches is out of the question. You can't weigh it in. But we give a brand new FXR 20 Apex boat away for the largest over. I think last year it was like 986, I think was the big fish last year. And then we give away a Yamaha side by side for the largest under. So under 16 inches, we give away. And so, cool story last year, the young man that won it actually won that was our 75th anniversary of Skeeter Boats last year. So we gave away 2 boats, one for
Okay.
over, one for under. And the young guy that won the under, his was a 302 largemouth that was under 16 inches. And everybody's kind of scratching their head going, how does that even happen? And he caught this fish on a frog that had the tail bit off. And
Bit off.
it bit
Snipped.
off and like
Yeah.
not snip, like gone, right? So you
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
the meat
Yeah.
of the tail and then you've got the fan. It was gone right there. You're kind of like cutting your arm off at your shoulder. It's like, and the fish bit a frog. And we're like, how'd that fish even swim? But
Yeah.
he was smart, right? Because we have game wardens at the ramp waiting on you when you come in.
Oh, I'm sure.
And if it's not legal, you get a ticket. That's just the way it's going to be on Fork. And so he called game warden, sent them pictures, and it was determined that this fish actually had been bitten by a turtle or something other than a pair of scissors
Right.
or a
Right.
fillet knife, and it had healed back, and it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like 15 3/4 inches long, and it measured, and they let it go and said, "Yep, you're legal." And he won it with a 302. It was pretty cool. It was a really really neat
Holy
deal. So
cow.
yeah, young kid and good kid. Fished with his mom and his brother, I want to say, or his best friend, and caught that fish early. So that was cool. And of course, we do a big toy drive for the event as
Okay.
well. So you bring you bring a toy to registration, and we've got one of our big saltwater boats there. You throw it in there, and we give you a ticket, and that puts you in the drawing for a new Yamaha ATV, which is pretty cool. It's like an $8,000 ATV, which is neat. That we give away. I do drive it beforehand, so it's not exactly new. It might be a little used, but it's clean at least, right? I drive it around
Yeah.
the parking lot there and do
Do
donuts.
some hot
But
laps before
yeah,
the
I do
event.
some hot laps there at Lake Fork with it, right? I gotta test it out, gotta break it in. But so we'll give that away, and then we've got over. I think this year we're advertising $230,000 in cash and prizes we're giving away. So we've got a lot of
Jesus.
stuff. Yeah, I mean we've got batteries, rods, reels, Apex units. I mean trolling motors, Raptors, you name it. I mean we're giving it away, and fishing trips and gift cards, and I mean I've got an entire rider box truck full of stuff that we're going to give away next week. And we do, of course, we have the great duck hunt that we do. We throw out these little yellow rubber ducks, right? There's 50 of
Okay.
them, and
Okay.
we've got some Lake Fork guides that they sneak out in the middle of the night and they strategically place these in areas of the lake. So if you get tired of fishing, which some guys will do mid-afternoon, right? It starts getting hot, and they're like, "I'm not catching anything. I'm gonna go duck hunting," and they'll go duck hunting, and there's no telling what you're gonna win if you find a duck. So we've got
Wow.
all kinds of stuff that go back to prizes and things. So it's cool. We're going to have a bunch of vendors there. Costa, DD26, our friends from who else? GSM, Yamamoto, all those brands, Striking Lose. Amp Marine, who's local here. They'll be out there. We'll have dealers that have boats on site. So we pretty much take over Lake Fork Marina for 4 days. And it is an absolute blast. People come out. It's fun to see people that you see once a year there. And they come from all over. I don't remember how many. I think we had like 20 or 24 states last year that were represented
Wow.
in this deal. And
Wow.
we've got a handful of folks that this will be their 30th Skeeter Owners Tournament they fish. So it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. And even if you don't own one and you're in East Texas, you should come by Lake Fork next Saturday and Sunday. I've got the dates, the 8th and 9th. Everything's run together now for me. But come out there and check out all the festivities. And we got some pretty good deals on boats going on right now. So we'll be glad to sell you one. So you could buy one on
Nice.
Friday and fish on Saturday. So
is there inventory there, or are you saying someone buy
we'll
one?
We'll have some on site we'll have 3 dealers that'll have boats on site there that will be showing off and for sale. And I don't know, we might even have a 2025 pop up that may show up out there. We usually don't, but we started building them a little early this year. So you never know, there could be some new stuff on site there as well. So
Get the
pretty
first
cool.
look. Yeah.
That's
awesome, man. Well, I love events like that. I've never fished a big bass tournament. Actually, that's not true. I did fish a high school fundraiser tournament in Colorado one time that was big bass, just like that, where it was the hourly payout deal, but nothing to the caliber of something like this. But to me, it just makes it fun, right? I mean, it's not like we all love regular tournaments and team tournaments and whatever else, but something like that, like, it can be anyone. You can go and fish with your buddy who doesn't really fish a lot, and has just as much of an opportunity to catch that great big one, or the under. And then you have the duck hunt involved. Like, to me, this is just a family event, right? Like, this is something where it's like, this is just fun. Like, this is a vacation that is going to be a blast.
And we've got the folks that won the over last year. He fished with his wife and his son. His son placed in the junior division. We have a junior division. We play 4 places in the junior division. We have a ladies division. We play 4 places in it. And then this year we've got a senior division. So that will pay 4 places in it as well. So those guys will get gifts and prizes. I think the junior guys, this is really cool. And I applaud Bass for this, but Bass steps up and gives a lifetime membership to Bass for the 4 junior anglers. So they're set for life when it comes to Bass and Bassmaster and Bass Times and stuff. So that's a neat deal. And the ladies, they get some cool ladies prizes as well. And the seniors, we were joking, I guess we're going to give out walkers with Skeeter decals on them and things like that. Cane, I don't know. It came up this year.
AARP membership.
It came up. Exactly. It came up in a meeting like, well, what do you classify as a senior? And I backed up. I said, I'm not answering this question. I'm not, because I'm not far from that. So I'm not answering that question. But so a lot of neat little deals like that. And then we'll have some other deals for 30th place, kind of symbolizing our 30th owners event. Last Friday, here in the plant, we got a bunch of folks together and we packed 2,000 angler registration bags. And this is it's on our Facebook page at Skeeter Products, but you can see us doing it. And we've got everything from mustad hooks to scent blasters to baits from Guggen and GSM and Strike King, and a big way bag full of all kinds of goodies. So everybody gets one of those. They get a hat. They'll get discount cards for Tackle Warehouse, Academy, and Dakota, and you name it. Of course, our clothing guys there selling all kinds of merch. So when I tell you it's a circus, dude, it is a circus. But we have an absolute blast. And every hour you got 10 new winners. And you've got guys that we've got some guys that'll walk away with $3,000-$4,000 because they'll win, and it becomes strategy in this deal too, right? So we've got K-New Radio comes out and they're kind of broadcasting because it's not a blast off deal. It's a get in your spot 6 a.m. first cast type of deal, and so of course we've got polygraph and all that stuff, but they you get out there and you catch one, and guys will catch a few, and then they'll start listening to the radio and seeing what's going on. What's
Mhm.
leading? They'll pull up to they'll come to the marina, and we've got guys on bullhorns that are saying, hey, 785 is leading big bass, or a 112, and they'll look at what they got and kind of strategize and go, man, I'm going to be close. Maybe I'll wait till the next hour, right? And
Right.
so it becomes a deal, but you can't keep fish overnight. So you got to weigh them in by 3 that day, or you'll lose it. So a lot of strategy. And the cool part is, the majority of the time, the winner for the over, it comes within the first 3 or 4 hours on the first day. So that guy's got to
Really?
sweat it out. Yeah, that guy's got to sweat it out. And
Yeah.
last year that dude caught that fish, I want to say, in the second hour, and waded in and won. So he won like $1,000 for first, for that hour. And then he had to sweat it out for the next day and a half. And
Jeez.
then, like, the last hour, we had a young lady came in. This is the best part. A young lady came in with like a 902. And I mean, and we got camera footage. I mean, he's sweating visibly, like freaking out, because he's about to lose right at $80,000 bass boat and just steal the one fish. And that's the
Yeah.
coolest part. It could be a kid, it could be, your wife, your mom, your sister, your girlfriend, or you. I mean, it only takes one cast, one fish could change all that stuff. So that's the cool thing about this tournament, and seeing that every hour. And we've got our buddy Fishburne does the emceeing, and he's an absolute blast. And if you've ever been on Instagram, you come across a guy named Tavin Dillard. Tavin's going to come down and join us this year. You got to
Okay.
check Tavin out. He's old boy from Arkansas, and he's Mr. No Pro, but he loves to fish. He and Cliff Pace are good buddies, so he's going to come out and hang out
Oh,
with us.
he's the
Yep, I saw
comedian.
the face. That's the guy.
Got it.
Yeah, that's the
I've seen
guy.
him.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
called and said, "Hey, I want to come check this thing out." And I said, "Well, dude, come on with it." He said, "I ain't got no boat." I said, "Well, we'll find somebody to put you with." So he's going to come out, hang out with us, and be a part of that. And we got a guy making homemade ice cream, to snow cones, to and the best part too is, we actually cook. Adam, you didn't know this, right?
Really?
You ever heard of Skeeter beans? So
Skeeter
we have a thing,
beans?
Skeeter beans, dude. Skeeter beans. They're world famous. They're
World
world
famous.
famous. They go to all our major events. Our operations team and our
Uh-huh.
engineers are cooking, I think, 240 briskets for Saturday night dinner. We're going to feed everybody Saturday night after you come off the water. So about 4:30, 5 o'clock, come out to Lake Fork Marina. We're going to feed you, and then we're going to give
Oh
away a
my
bunch of prizes. And yeah, it's an absolute blast. I can't tell you how excited we are to get it going, but then we're also ready for it to be over with, because we're we're tired.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
I'm sure you're probably tired from all the R&D with Skeeter beans. I'm sure that all the cooking
oh,
has to
not
go
me.
somewhere to test things
That
out.
was perfected a long time ago. I just eat them. All I do is just eat them. That's
That's
it.
right.
So we have a whole bean team. Seriously, this is no joke, dude. You have a whole bean team, the whole 9 yards, dude. It's Listen, don't laugh. It's serious.
This
We
is
take
serious
our food
business.
serious over here, man. I mean, come on. So
Come on with the bean team. I love it. I
we
love it.
got them. We have a good time. So we have a good time. But yeah, it's a highlight of our year for sure, and it kicks off our
That's cool.
summer, and then that leads into, of course, ICAST for most folks, and we have our big dealer meeting come August. So we're pushing that time frame for model year 25 boats now, and starting to see those come off the line a little bit, and
Yeah.
cycle through. So getting ready for photo shoots and all that stuff. So it's summer's a busy time. Kids get out of
Busy time.
school, and we just get busier. So,
No
but
doubt. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and you've alluded to it some. So 25 models. You've certainly, it sounds like, have seen them and been working on them quite a bit up to this point. And there may be one for folks who are headed to the tournament. So that's really cool to
maybe,
see.
yeah,
Maybe. And
maybe.
but any tidbits that you can give away talking about anything related to the 25 models within Skeeter at this point?
You know, we've got a great engineering team here. They do a ton of work, and I know we've talked last time you had me on about kind of my history in this industry and whatnot. And when I first started, and I was at Strike King Lure Company and other things, we could come up with a new product in 6 or 8 weeks, right? I mean, you could knock one of those out pretty fast and come up with something. And when I came to Skeeter, it's an 18 to 36 month process. It's nothing that you just you just snap your fingers and you can pop it out. It's a whole different deal here. So we've got some stuff, some technology and some things we've been working on for prior to me even being here. I have nothing to do with any of this stuff. I just say, yes, we can sell that, or yes, we can market to that. But all of our guys here fish, right? The majority of us here in the plant, in operations, in the front office, we all fish. And so we know, we keep up. Our new product manager is a stick in East Texas and this region particularly. And he's up with the trends and the things that are going on. And we look at all this stuff and we see things that are happening. So while there may not be a lot of new stuff or a new model this year, we do have some new featured content and updates and upgrades to our current line. FXR, Apex, and FXR Limited, they're getting a big facelift at the console. We've got some new technology there going in within a Skeeter command center, as well as our ZXRs. I know on your kind of outline you gave, we want to talk about that a little bit. Our ZXRs are getting some updates as well, all the way through our line, our ZX line, and all the way through our DV and our saltwater line. They're all getting an update. I've got a new saltwater model that's going to be coming out this year that we're really excited about. And a lot of our boats, we've actually gone through the testing and upgraded, especially the saltwater side, for the new Yamaha 350s that have come out. So, that is a beast of an engine. And I actually we have a sales and marketing demo that's being built right now that I'm really looking forward to getting out on the water because you could do a lot with it. So, but no, so and a lot of white engines on saltwater boats. Now we used to use the gray Yamahas on a lot of stuff, and we started putting the white motors on them, and that's been a big hit. So a lot of new things that are coming, and you'll see some new colors as well. We're real big, especially in the bass line and the DV line, on color packages. I think everybody does that to a point right now. We've been doing that for a long time, what we call NAP, or nationally advertised price boats, where our boats are priced to, the color packages, to the graph selection, shallow water anchors, all that stuff is already kind of pre-built into that pricing. So, theoretically, you buy a new Skeeter at a tremendous discount off of, having to build one on your own. And all you got to do is put oil, batteries, and gas in it, and then all your gear, just go fishing, right? There's no extra time at the digger trying to rig stuff or do this or do that. Sure, you're adding accessories to it that you want to, but, for those of us old school guys that may not be all into forward-facing sonar yet, or 360s, we just put it in the water and go fishing, and we catch them. So, some really cool deals there. Some new color packages, some stuff that you've seen on vehicles riding around. Not Idaho. I don't know how much new stuff gets up to Idaho, Adam, but
hey, you'd be surprised now. Come on.
No,
you go around Boise or Coeur d'Alene, there's some fancy stuff running around.
Oh yeah, but no, I'm kidding. But some new colors that you've seen on some popular trucks or cars. You may see versions of that pop out. So yeah, some really neat stuff. That a couple of things that you'll look and go, is that a Skeeter? And you'd be like, wow, they stepped up their game on that deal. So yeah, some really neat stuff there. And for our DV guys, we've got a new model coming out that actually debuted back at the Northwest Sports Show called our WXR 2060. We have an F version. We have an F version we came out with last year that has jump seats in the back and kind of great for the family. We've got the 2060 version that's out that is more of a fishing platform in terms of tournament guys, right? It's got the longer tracks on the gunnels, no jump seats, but extra storage in the rear, and just built for that tournament fishing guy that is, for the walleye and the stuff in the Great Lakes that they're ready to get out there and go after them and can handle that water. And so, yeah, a lot of neat stuff like that, and a lot of new feature content things that we've come out with, trying to make it every year, trying to upgrade it for our owners and potential buyers to where, it pays to run a Skeeter, and this is a reason why. And so it's a big deal for us. So.
That's awesome. Well, one comment on the color stuff that I think I noticed, and I don't know if Skeeter was the first, but when I started seeing boats with the flat colors, the flat grays, the flat
Yeah.
black, the flat green, right? Like some of these super unique colors. I feel like other brands now have kind of followed suit maybe there, but I always felt like that was just so clean when it came to Skeeters being unique. And everyone has their preference. Like when you said white motors, I perked up because I'm a white boat, white motor guy.
Yeah.
Like I've always thought that's super clean look, but it is just super unique to me. Some of the colors that Skeeter had become popular. Like you see so many now. I see fishing tournaments all over. I see a lot of the gray Skeeter, right? That flat black or flat gray
Yeah.
color. It's awesome looking and it's modern. It's super unique.
We have, I'm trying to think, I know we have 3, possibly 4 new, what we call gel colors that are no flake. They're
Oh,
all gel
wow.
that are
Wow.
coming out. And
Yeah.
my, my guys back in lamination, I don't walk back there anymore. They don't like me for some odd reason at this time of year because we come up, and it's not really me. We have a whole group from marketing to sales to our engineering team that we look at these colors and we do renderings of them and we look at them, and some look really good. Some are like, man, what were we thinking? That's not going to work. So
Yeah.
we look at all these colors every year and where they pull inspiration. We have a design engineer that, I mean, he's a young kid, loves to hunt, loves to fish, photographer, videographer, does all the things. So he's looking at stuff from, the fashion world, from cars, motorcycles, furniture, I mean, everything under the sun, right? And we're pulling
Mhm.
these things in
Mhm.
and we're looking at what's popular and what we think could be a cool boat. One of our new colors, we built it's actually back in finishing right now. I saw it yesterday, and I caught one of my older guys looking at it and going, "Man, I don't know. It's got a I don't know if I love it or I'm not sure. I'm kind of on that fence." And he said, "What
Sure.
do you think?" And I said, "Dude, that is to me, and I'm a clean. I mean, my boat right now is black and purple. It hence
Mhm.
the purple shirt, but it's black and purple, and it's clean, it's sharp, it's like I want it. My first
Sure.
boat ever, solid white with a teal stripe, right? And
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
it was clean, it was sexy, had a white pickup truck, right? Everything went together.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so this one is like, to me, it's almost a throwback to some older colors, but like just turn it up a little bit and
Interesting.
like a step
Yep.
up on a classic, right? So there's some stuff there that you're gonna go, huh, that's pretty sharp. And look, not everybody's gonna like them. We get that.
Right.
I completely
Right.
understand that. You don't like it, get something else, get a different color. That's cool. But
Yeah.
we brought purple in, what we call wisteria last year, brought it back. It had died. And it was funny when they were talking about bringing it back. I was very new here. I'd only been here a year and a half, but I was very new. We were looking at those. And we have a color committee that's like 10 of us, 12 of us that go through all these colors. I call it the color club.
I
And we've
love
got
it.
one, we have
Paint with
one
crayons.
that's it. We've got one. Oh yeah, we got crayons and Sharpies and T-shirts and all hats. We're diving in, but we've got a young lady, one of our sales coordinators, that's in there with us, and she keeps us level headed on that stuff. She's like no or yes, and we kind of look at it, but you look at some of this stuff and you're like, I don't know, but it's you'll look at it and it'll turn your head. And the purple thing we did last year, everybody kind of made fun of it, and so I said, hey, I'll run one. So I did, and dude, everywhere I go with that boat, and it's black with a little bit of purple and some pinstripes in it. Everywhere I go, people they'll break their neck looking at it. And I pull into a gas station and somebody's going to say something about it. I pull to a ramp, they're going to say something about it, and you start to see more and more of those come out. We took that and we kind of moved it down into our other lines a little bit, and we kind of
Okay.
expanded that purple a little bit. So that one I can tell you about. We have a gentleman by the name of Jeff Stone, who is our senior VP and general manager for almost 40 years, and he retired back in April. So we have a new gel that's coming out. We called it Stone Gel, kind of a nod to him, and it's pretty sexy, Adam. Let's be honest with
Yeah.
you. It's pretty
Yeah.
sexy. So we've got some new gel colors coming out. We also have our Apex line has a paint that we call Tritex. Tritech
Okay.
is what it is, and so it's gel with about 3 or 4% flake in it, and it's a different size flake than what is. You look at the boat and it looks gel. You get up close to it, and the light hits it, and all of a sudden it glitters. Right? It's
Is
got a
it
little got a
shiny?
little spark to it. We've got a few new colors in that line. So
Sure.
some pretty hot looking stuff coming. Those will hit the website around August 1st. You'll start seeing those, but they'll hit dealers here within the next probably 25 to 30 days. A good bit of them will hit, and a lot of those colors pass down into the saltwater line too. So the saltwater stuff is still a kind of build your own deal, but we move some of those down into that line too. That I've built a couple for photo shoots that people call me crazy and went back and we looked at them in the plan as they're being built and we're like, that could work. That could really work.
Yeah.
So hopefully they sell. If not, I'm in trouble, but we'll figure it out as we go
We'll figure it
along.
out
So
one way or another. Well,
yeah, we'll
that's
find a way to sell it. So, but
exactly. Well, the gel stuff is one thing I've always wondered, and to get your take on, because I've heard it both sides. Some people say, well, like, be careful with a gel boat or a solid color boat because it'll scratch. It shows or if you scratch it, you're around the timber, you're in stuff bouncing around. It shows more so than a flake boat, your traditional shiny boat situation. What's kind of your take there?
it does. You have to be
Okay.
a little more careful with it, but it's also very easy to repair or very easy to buff out as well. So it's not like a flake boat where you take a little nail polish or a Sharpie and you can kind of hide it a little bit more. It is gonna pop up and show, but I mean it's a boat, right? I mean they're not made to be baby, they're made to be used, and it happens. But they look really really good on the trailer or on the water, no matter what. And they're a head turner for sure. So we're excited about this year's offering. We're excited to get them together for photo shoots, and I'll share some with you, Adam, when we get them going, where you can.
Yeah.
I'll
Send
kind
some
of like give you a
pictures.
little sneak peek of them and see what you
Yeah.
think. So, but
Awesome.
little inside scoop there. So.
I like it. I like it. Well, I can't wait. It's something, all the difference in colors and stuff in today's industry, I think is really cool and unique from that perspective. And like you said, some people will get a boat where you mentioned in the owners tournament where you're just like, why would someone have like, I like the Joker colored boat. That's one where I've just
Oh
never
yeah.
like, you see a couple of them. Like, I'm just like, I just think it's the ugliest thing in the world, but some people love them. Like the purple and green, lime green. I'm just like, what is that?
Oh yeah.
you know?
Yeah. We had one come through about 6 8 months ago, and I named it the Captain America boat because I mean this was.
Oh, okay.
But when it was done and they put it on a trailer, dude, it looked pretty sharp. I'm not gonna
You're
lie.
like,
But you know
hold
what?
up.
It's not my boat. Somebody ordered it. That's what they wanted. More power to them, brother. I'm like, hey, that's good. I had a good friend that passed away back a few months ago,
Mm.
and we both used to. He ran a different boat brand, and I used to do some photo work for him, and he'd always say, "Hey, come take pictures of my boat with me sometime when you can." I'm like, "Dude, you have the ugliest boats. You build the ugliest boat every year. I can't do that." And we'd
Yeah.
always laugh about it, but I mean, that was his deal. He loved it, and he sold every single one of them. It was somebody bought it no matter what. Somebody was going to buy that boat, and but I gave him a hard time about it because there were some that you just feel like, what, what were you, what,
Yeah.
no, there's no way. And of course, online now you can build your boats online and really see what they look like and gives you a better idea. Back
Yeah.
20 years ago, 15 years ago, you didn't have that. You just kind of had colored chips and samples. You kind of laid them out and looked at it and said, yeah, this looks pretty good. And it was a stressful few months where that boat showed up and whether it's going to look right or not, right? So you're always a little bit concerned, but we'd like to take that guesswork out of it for you, and we show you what it's going to look like ahead of time, and it makes it pretty easy on our side. So
Yeah.
guys are pretty happy with it. So yeah,
Awesome.
but
Awesome. Well, kind of a segue from there, talking about different models, I've always seen, of course, the FXRs, the Apexes, and then the ZXRs. What is, and I know there's a lot of differences here, and it's kind of your different packages, just like it would be on your truck packages or whatever else it may
mhm.
be. But when it comes to these different models, what's kind of just a synopsis or what would be your easy explanation to someone? Hey, Chris, I'm ready to buy a Skeeter. Give me some different models and what I'm going to get kind of in those different packages.
Well, first question I'm going to ask you when you say I'm ready to buy a Skeeter is, what are you planning to do with it? Right? Are you hardcore tournament guy? Is it just you and another guy? Are you fishing pro am? Are you what are you going to do with it? And that's gonna give me one of a couple of categories. Um, Obviously the FXR Apex, Apex being mountaintop, right? That's the highest you can go.
Here.
That's our top of the line boat. That's what our pros run. That's what the majority of our demo teams run. That's what that's the top of the line deal. That's got all your bells and whistles in it. If you ever look one up, if you go to the website and you look at things and you look
Yep.
for options, there's not many options on an Apex, right? It comes standard with a hydraulic jack plate. It comes standard with dual trim, dual blinker trim, standard with Raptors. It comes standard with Helix units, a 15 at the dash and a 12 at the bow. And you can add, you can change the bow to 15 or add another 12. You can add two 12s to the console. But outside of that and a cover or a dual console, not many options on Apex.
Mm-hmm.
You got lighting on the deck, you got carpet padding, all that stuff's already part of the price. It's already there.
Mm-hmm.
You come down to our limited, which is the FXR limited version, and it's got a few more options. So less standards, a few more options like hydraulic jack plate is an option. You got the deck lighting on the front, that's an option. Carpet padding is an option, which after fishing in one with carpet padding, you'll never
Oh, it's
go back,
hard. Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, and a lot of companies pad just the front fishing area of the platform or of the deck.
Right.
We pad in the FXR line, we pad the entire front deck, right? So the entire front deck
Wow.
is padded, and that's a huge deal. It truly is. Inside the boat, you've got all of the FXR line. It's all upgraded wiring, and I know everybody talks about I got to add a wiring harness and this and that and this and that. You don't really with us. I mean, we moved to a 5 battery system last year on our ZXR and FXR lines, where you have a house battery that runs all your electronics and then
Okay.
and things within the boat. But then starting battery is isolated. It's by itself. It
Mhm.
just runs the engine and charges. And then you've got obviously three for the trolling motor that are on a separate deal off to the other side. So um, we have the upgraded wiring in the FXRs and ZXR. So everything there, I mean, it's plug and play basically. Everything, you don't have to add wiring harnesses to it or anything like that. It's already there. It's got that beefed up wiring to it, and everything's isolated, so it makes it easier on electronics and everything.
I
Um,
that's
yeah.
something, Chris, that I just have done over the last year or two is have switched to and with X2 basically running 3 lithiums on my trolling motor. I've got my lithium that is strictly electronics, clean, 100%
Mhm.
power right there, and then I've got my isolated starting battery that is just has to deal with running the boat and then the motor, right? And I've seen a huge difference in um just the electronics battery staying, topped off the entire day
Mhm.
with today's electronics and running that much power. And then just the redundancy factor, right? The concern is not ever that I'm going to run out of juice. If I do have
Right.
something wrong, I can always rotate. I've got 5 batteries to work with back here. So
Yeah.
I like how Skeeter's done that. It sounds like a great move forward with kind of the trend of more and more electronics on these boats. It makes sense to just come standard like that because I had to retrofit my boat to do that, and it was a pain in the
Right.
butt to get 5
Right.
batteries back there.
Oh yeah, and so we went to that in the 24 model year. So mine's a little different. I'm running mine a little different than what a lot of our engineering guys are. They're
Okay.
running because Yamaha doesn't approve lithium for cranking, so you got
Right.
to run
Yep.
a gel cell or a lead for that, and which
Mhm.
is fine. So a lot of guys have been running the isolated lithium battery for electronics, and
Yep.
then the three for trolling motor. I went the opposite direction as a test. I run the X2 batteries as well for the lithium for
Nice.
the trolling motor, but I run two X2 lead batteries or
AGM.
gel cell batteries,
Yeah.
yeah, AGM
Yeah.
batteries, right, for my cranking and my electronics, and
Mhm.
they're actually together
Parallel?
in
Yeah.
parallel. So what happens is when I'm running, I'm charging both those batteries, right? So
Mhm.
I'll always have electronics power, but I've got that consistent feed from electronics. I'm never going to have low voltage on. And I've run two Helix up front, plus 360, plus Mega Live, and then I've got two Helix at the
Mhm.
at the console as well. So it's a lot of juice. It's all tied into that one battery. But I know with that, I'm never going to run out of power at all. And
Totally.
then, of course, we come standard with 5 bank chargers. So when
Mhm.
you plug in at night, everything gets gets freshly juiced, and you're good to go there. So that's been a big deal for us this year, and that's been a big push with that. But so you got your Apex and your Limited, and then people look at the ZXRs as well. ZXRs, that's our big seller, right? It's a perfect team tournament boat. It's a perfect high school fishing boat. You got 3 people in there. It's perfect for that. You do lose, like our FXR line, we have touch pads for switches and everything like that. ZXR goes back old school a little bit. You've got toggle switches.
Mhm.
You've got just your standard analog gauges in it. Still have the options to add 2 graphs up front, 2 at the console, but they come standard with Helix 12s. They come standard with Raptors,
Mm.
250 Yamahas on the 20 and 21. But you do lose, the deck lighting. You do have the upgraded lighting in the compartments, and on the ZXRs, you just have carpet padding on the very front, the very nose of the boat up there.
Got
But again, there are a few options. You can do hydraulic jack plate. You can do that, and then it comes with the trailers, which we do make trailers right here in Kilgore, right here at our facility. Those trailers
mm.
have the steel fenders, where the FXR or fiberglass fenders. So
Got it.
a little cleaner presentation on the FXRs, but they're built identical. Trailers are built the same. You're just getting a different fender and a different wheel and tire with that one. So it's a price point boat, a more price conscious
Yeah.
deal. And we've got a 20 and 21 foot model in that, and we have a ZXR 19 that we have as well. That's a great little boat for what it is. And then we got guys that are new to bass fishing or trying to get into it, or older guys that don't want a big boat anymore. We've got our ZX 150 and our ZX 200. So you've got a 150 rated boat and a 200 rated boat that
Mhm.
they're fun. I'll be honest,
Yeah.
they're a lot of fun. We've got a ZX 150 in our loaner pool, and that I'll take out from time to time. And while I've got a 21 foot FXR at the house, I'll bring this little 18 foot ZX 150 home sometimes, and my nephew and I we'll just go kind of backwater creeping with it, because you can. I mean, it's like driving a little sports car, dude. I mean, it is
Yeah.
stupid fun and fast. I mean, they are really
That's the
fast. I mean, it's a low 60s boat. It's a lot of fun to play with.
yeah.
So
No, well, you're speaking right to at least myself anyway from a small boat situation. So I've always enjoyed the small boats. My first boat was a 2005 Legend that was a 18.5 foot Legend.
hmm
And first of all, that boat flew. It had a 200 on it, and it flew. And as far as backwaters fishing, getting around docks, I loved it, right? And so I've always thought that in a lot of situations. I think get away with a 19-foot boat, 18-foot boat.
yeah,
And then, now I like the 20, I like the 21 foot, but I've also always been the guy that's kind of been interested in that price conscious boat
hmm
situation. I fish a lot of high level tournaments, but I like trying to get the best bang for my buck when it comes to a boat, and finding that kind of price point, right? To where it makes sense. I may upgrade and have the hydraulic jack plate and these types of things, but I'm not a guy that shies away from the old type switches and that kind of a thing
no,
either.
no,
So,
there's
um,
nothing
you
wrong
know,
with that at all. I mean, they're easy to replace. Something goes wrong, you can
exactly.
diagnose it pretty fast on the water. You look at John Garrett,
Hmm.
Elite Series rookie this year.
Yep.
John ran a ZXR 21 for us for years.
Wow.
His
Yeah.
grandfather owned the dealership there in Union City, Tennessee, and he ran a
Cool.
ZXR demo for us for years. Qualified for the elites out of the ZXR. Didn't even
Mm,
have the FXR, but I mean, it's the same. It's minus a few bells and whistles. It's the same rig, right? And so when I moved him up to the national team this year, he made the elites. We
yeah.
gave him the option of the FXR, and he's like, "Can I stay in the ZXR?" I said, "We kind of need you in the FXR," and he's like, "Okay, that's fine, no problem." But
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
got a gentleman out of Virginia, Jack Dice, who's
Yeah.
works for GSM, fishes the opens, big
Yeah.
content guy online, and he runs a ZXR for us. And I
Nice.
mean, again, price conscious guy. I mean, I met Jack years ago when he was fishing college and had an old beat up truck. had an old beat up Ranger that I wasn't even sure how that boat floated, to be honest with you. It was old, and he repaired it enough times. I mean, he won a tournament. I'm pretty sure had duct tape all over the boat just to hold it
Let's go.
together, and we put him in the ZXR, and I mean, it's night and day difference for him. But he's like, dude, I'll stay in this boat as long as I can. I mean, loves it. So they're again, they're fun to drive. If I had, if I had to go out tomorrow and buy a new boat at retail, and I'm
Mhm.
not saying it because I work here, but a ZXR 21 would be my choice. I mean,
Mm.
with all the stuff that comes standard on them, I would love to own an FXR. But from a price conscious deal to being able to go and do and fish, I'm a big old boy, Adam. I'm twice the size of you, so I need a 21 footer to get around, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I wish I could go back to a small boat. I
yeah.
do, but once you run a 21, it's hard to go backwards.
You're
It
not wrong.
really is. And
Yeah.
so, at least for a long period of time, but so ZXR 21 would be on my short list of boats I would consider because they're pretty strong. They really
Yeah.
are.
And
So
does Brandon still run a 20-foot? Doesn't he run
he
the
does. He
20
does.
foot?
The
He
majority
likes
of our guys
this.
run FXR 20s. I've got a handful: Scott Canterbury, Scott Martin, Ray Hans. I got a handful of guys that run a 21, and it's funny the guys that'll call me about August, September when it's time to order a new boat, going, "Man, I'm thinking about a 21. What do you think?" And
Mm.
you'll lose a mile an hour, maybe two, depending on how it's set up from a 20. But they'll go drive a 21 and they're like, man, I really like that. But they end up going with a 20. And then about late August, when they get down on Champlain and St.
Yep.
Lawrence and up north, they're like, man, I should have done a 21. I'm like, I'm telling you, but it's okay. It's all right. They're
There's
good.
always
But
next year.
yeah, the majority of boats that we do are 20s, but you also know, like in Texas, 21s are a big boat because the water gets big, gets rough in a
Mm.
hurry. But I've got a nephew that lives with us and that now works for Skeeter back in the plant, and he's run my
Nice.
21 a few times, and he's like, I can't. He's like, it came out of a 19 footer, 18 footer, and he's like, I'm not sure I can go back to a 18, 19 foot boat. He's, I like this 21, and he's a little bitty dude, but he loves that 21. I do too. It's hard to go back. It really is. So
Sure. Sure.
I,
No
I just
doubt.
carry too
Yeah.
much crap. I just carry too much
That's
crap, is
that's
what
the
it
other
is.
issue that I've been having
So
here lately. Because I've been trying to simplify stuff because you're exactly right. It's like, oh my gosh, like my boat would run a heck of a lot faster if I didn't have all this tackle that I have now. It has nothing to do with all this other stuff. It's just I just keep buying stuff. That's the
oh
problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm the same way. I mean, when I moved to Texas, I got back into fishing pretty hot and heavy, and so it was like, man, I'm low on a lot of stuff, and so I kind of went on a little shopping spree. And yeah, now I don't know where it all goes, what to do with it all. So, but
Yeah. Yeah.
got to pare
Awesome.
some of that stuff down.
Well,
So yeah.
exactly. Well, as far as the hole goes between the FXR and the ZXR, what is there a difference in the hole itself, or is this all top cap stuff that we're talking as far as
It's
upgrades?
nope.
Things?
The holes are different between the
Okay.
FXR and the ZXR. Not much, but a little.
Okay. Okay.
And then top cap stuff is pretty much the same.
Okay.
A few differences in the fact that the FXR, on the step that goes to the front deck, there's a little rise, and then the step. The FXR has a trash can
Mm.
that's mounted there in the floor, which is super nice.
Yeah, that's handy.
Um, and then, but everything else is still the same. Coolers between the seats. The seats are the same. I think some of the piping and some of the design in the seats are a little different. The step up to the back deck's a little different in a ZXR. So pretty much the way that goes, when we change something on the FXR, we'll take that stuff and move it down the line into the ZXR, the old stuff. So the new stuff will be on the FXRs, and that works out real well. But they all come standard with you've got the Quest is standard on a FXR. The
Mm.
Ultra X is standard on a ZXR with the option to go to a Quest. So I mean, you see a lot of stuff that's advertised in magazines or online that for this 69,999 or 79,999, whatever it is, and you read the fine print and it's boat motor trailer. You go online, you see our stuff. It's advertised for 85.9 or 89.9, it's loaded, right? It's a trolling motor, it's a front graph, it's a graph at the console, it's shallow water anchors. It's the majority of stuff that's there, minus a few options like a cover and a hydraulic plate, things like that, that you want to add or not, or just stay with what you got. My boat now has a standard plate on it. No, I don't have a hydraulic jack plate, just a standard jack plate. I love it. It's great. Takes
Yeah.
a lot of the guesswork out for me going across the lake. So a lot of things you can do with them. Or if you're like me and just want to go fishing when you get the opportunity, just put in the water and go fishing. So
Keep it simple. I like it. I like it.
yep.
Well,
Yep.
thanks for the breakdown there of kind of the differences as things go. Kind of to wrap things up here, I'd love to get your take. We've seen a lot of rebates, and Skeeter certainly has thrown a
Yep.
lot of rebates in the boat industry. We've seen big package deals kind of as far as my take is that kind of getting rid of some of the 24 models at this point in time before the 2025. What's your take on the industry? What are you seeing? What conversations are you having with dealers right now, bass boat market?
So, we started out the year with a pretty aggressive buy safe fish program, and pretty much everybody does, right? There's usually some first quarter boat show deals that happen, some things going on that works. I mean, you're looking at 23 model year 23 inventory that's sitting out there that dealers are sitting on, or we're trying to move while we're building model year 24. And so you saw a lot of that stuff happen first part of the year, not only with us, but with a lot of companies. And now, just like a car company, right? We change model years midsummer, mid-year, just like everybody else does. In the boating industry as well as the automotive industry, and you're seeing a lot of Memorial Day deals, a lot of July 4th deals that are coming up on trucks and cars and everything else. You'll see a lot of that stuff coming up, and you'll see it on boats as well, because we are getting ready to build. Like we shut down the week of 4th of July to do a model year changeover, and we make
Wow.
sure that all of our stuff's in place for come back, July 8th, and we'll start building model year 25s full time. And we've
Got it.
bumped that up a little bit now, just from the standpoint of, we've got some open build slots. We need to start building a few more things, so we'll start building 25s, and a lot of them are not test boats, but boats that we're going down the line to make sure that our guys on the line understand the new feature content, the new things are. We're constantly updating the way we do things, our practices. I've got a continuous improvement team. We've got a quality assurance team. We've got teams in place to make sure that every boat that goes out the door is built the Skeeter way and the way it needs to be, right? From a quality standpoint, quality control, to just the processes in place to make sure that we're building the boats correctly and efficiently, right? So we have a set number of boats we want to build a day, and to make sure those get out the door efficiently and correctly, we have teams in place to make sure that happens, and it works really well. What we're seeing with the rebates, everybody's doing it, and it is the truth. Everybody's trying to move some non-current model year production, so they can be ready for model year 25. And that's exactly what we're doing. I mean, we've got a few boats left in inventory out there we need to move. We actually have a program that ended last week called our Summer Sizzle, and we're debating right now if we're going to extend it through the end of June. Don't know that we will. We'll have to look at inventory levels and see what's there, but it's the same thing everybody does across the board. We saw other manufacturers do it. And it's usually a time of year that guys can get a great deal on a new boat and be set. And with that, with that too, you've got guys that may have boats that are a little bit older that want to get into a new boat. This is a great time of year to get into a model year 24 and at a great price. And it qualifies you for 2 years of Skeeter real money, which, depending on what tournament trails you fish, could pay you an extra $6,500 per tournament, or an extra $5,000 per tournament, depending on what you fish and and what you do. So, a lot of incentive programs out there, a lot of contingency programs, and a lot of good deals, rebates on summer sales programs going on right now to help you save some money to get you in a new boat or get you in a boat. Period. So,
Sure. So you mentioned the contingency programs, and the Skeeter Real Money has sort of been revamped. One thing
it has.
that I did kind of on a business from the bass boat analytical level, went through all the contingency programs with all the brands, right? And And then one thing that I was a big benefit in my eyes to the Skeeter side, this was prior to the updates that you had mentioned, which I think have increased the level of the program. But I always was like, man, Skeeters didn't have as high of a contingency program as some of these other brands. But the difference was Yamaha was involved on everything because you're running a Yamaha outboard on the Skeeter. And then it was like, well, Yamaha's program's sweet too. So you kind of
Yeah.
get this benefit by running those newer boats from that perspective. But talk a little bit about some of the revamps on the real money.
Yeah, so obviously you got Yamaha Power Pay, which pays for a good number of events, and I don't remember exactly what their numbers are there, but on the Skeeter side, for the last few years we always did a matching thing. So you win a tournament, and we would match your winnings up to $5,000. So if you win 10 grand, we're going to pay you five. If you win 3 grand, we'll pay you three. So we'll just match what you've done, and we still have that. That's called our grassroots level. So a lot of it's based off of the horsepower you have on the back of the boat, which determines the size of the boat, but also the size of the field that you have that you're fishing against, right? So this year we kind of lowered those numbers a little bit as far as the field size goes, and we came out with Real Money Max. And Real Money Max is we've picked, I think there's like 180 tournaments in this trail or in this
A lot of
line
tournaments.
that
Yeah.
that if you win one of those in a 2 year old or newer Skeeter, then we're going to pay you $7,500 for the win, no questions asked, and we'll pay you up to 5 times a year. So it's like $37,000 you can win just for running a Skeeter, right?
Half
And
a boat
a
off.
newer Skeeter. Yeah, exactly. So we've got guys that won 10 or 12 grand in a tournament, and we paid them $7,500. That's they won almost 20 grand just from that, and that's just from us. And then you got Power Pay on top of that, plus other companies and guys that play the contingency game correct. They can win some big money throughout the year with that. A lot of companies pay it 3 times. We pay it five. So we upped our game there. So 108, and we're adding tournaments to that list every week, which is pretty cool. And we're still doing that throughout the year. So like right now, we're getting into a lot of the Northern BFLs are starting. A lot of the walleye tournaments are starting. Those are all there. We're paying those too, and we'll continue to make that deal a little bit better, a little bit better. We're already looking at 2025 for that calendar year and what we're going to do for that, and how we can upgrade that a little bit, how we can make that a little more appealing. Because you go into a dealership and you're looking to buy a boat. There's a lot of guys that go in and go, well, what does this contingency program pay versus this one? And they're
Mm,
comparing the two to see what they fish and what the paybacks are if they're
100%.
good, right? Because I mean, think about it. We all go into a tournament going, I can win this today, right?
Mm,
And then
mhm.
because it's you against the fish, it's not you against everybody else. So everybody thinks they can win a tournament any given day. I do,
Yeah.
and I suck.
Yep.
So I still think I can win one. But that's a lot of money that I can make. I can't personally, but that guys can make from winning out of a Skeeter. But
Sure.
and then you've got tournament trails that throw additional incentives in there as well. And then you've got other dealers that throw incentives on top of that for trails as well. So it's a big deal. But our Real Money Max, it's $100 a year to sign up. We pay
Okay.
you $7,500. I got one guy's already won it twice, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's 75 boats is the minimum in that deal. So if you've
50
got
boats.
75
Well,
boats or
I'm
more,
sorry. I'm sorry.
well, on the
I'm
max, it's
looking at, yeah.
75. Yeah, the
Yeah.
max is 75. The
Got it.
grassroots, which is where the majority of everybody else is, that's 50 boats. It used to be 75. Now it's 50.
Got it.
So that brings in a lot of your smaller team tournaments, brings in a lot of your smaller events that you can be, and we'll pay up to 5 grand. I've got a couple of guys that have won that 3 times already this year. It's 15 grand
Mm,
they've made. They may win 7,000 for the tournament, and they'll win five from us. And then we've got the limited, which is kind of our lower tier. But if you sign up for the
mhm.
max, you get all three, no matter what you fish.
Got it.
But
Got it.
we'll pay up to 1,500 on that one because I think it's 30 boats or more in that field.
30
So
boats. 30.
we got a lot. Like we've paid out some guys that fish Tuesday nighters, right? That have
Yeah.
31 boats, and we're like, yeah, you won, cool. And our boat, it qualifies. Yeah, we'll pay you. What'd you
Boom.
win? and they'll win 1,000 or something. We'll pay them 1,000. We'll pay them, exactly what they want. So it's and what's funny is our Elite Series guys get on this too. Pat Slapper just won one up north, a team
Mhm.
tournament deal with a buddy, and he pays his real money up front every year. And I think we're paying him, I think $3,000 or something like that for whatever it is. I forget
That's
what the
awesome.
number was, but we pay him back for that. Matter of fact, he called me this morning checking on see if I got it to process. I'm like, you don't need the money. Why are you calling me? You'll get it when you get it, right? I'll hold that check for you. But and our Elite Series guys, they obviously have bonuses built into their contracts for what they've done and whatnot. Which has been we've had a great year on the Elite Series trail too with our guys. So
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun to watch. And I love paying back real money, max money. I love paying back real money because we get the stories, we get the photos, we get the calls. Love hearing that stuff from our owners on what they caught, how they caught it, how they won it, and then just flying that Skeeter flag for us is really cool. So it's all
That's
about our
awesome.
owners. That's what it really is about. So
That's awesome. So
yeah.
so if a guy were to, just to make sure I'm understanding the 2-year old or newer, so a guy buys a 2024 Skeeter end of this year. You're like, we're talking, he buys one now.
Yeah.
So how long does he have in the program versus buying a 2025, say this fall?
So it's really going to be about the same. You buy
Okay.
2024 today, which you said is going to air on Monday. So you buy one on June
Mm.
3rd of this year,
Yep.
then you have until June 3rd of 2026
I see. So
is
from the
when it'll
date
run.
of
It's 2
okay.
years. It's 2 years of based on your warranty registration is what it is. So you
Oh,
buy 2025 this fall, then it'll be the same. It'll be 2 years from that date is what it'll be. So, and
gotcha.
we've had and it's pretty sad. We've had a few guys that have missed that deal by like a couple
Oh,
of days,
I bet.
and I'm
Oh,
like, dude, I'm sorry, you're timed out, and
yeah.
I
Pay
can't.
attention to your
It's
timing.
it's one of those things. So, it's a great time of year to buy a boat. It really is. So you're that way, you're good for the next 2 years. I get a lot of people that come at me that are like, hey, what about those guys in older boats? What about those guys in older boats? Like 2017s and 18s. And there's a lot of guys that are retired. They're not going to buy another boat. They don't want another boat, right? They're good. And same with us, anybody else. The whole plan behind a contingency program is to award our owners, but also to sell more boats. It's a whole deal
100%.
to help sell more boats, and it's just yeah, but we also want to reward those guys for winning them out of our boats. So it's a big deal, and we've got some plans in place for 2025 that we can talk about down the road. But something to look out for to make our program even better. So
Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Chris, man, I appreciate you taking the time out and enjoy all the festivities with the Skeeter owners. Skeeter's owners. That should be a party and a blast, I'm sure. And
It will be.
appreciate you taking the time out, man. I really do.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Great talking to you.
Absolutely. Okay. We'll catch you later, Chris.